What's going on, guys? Welcome to another video. So today we are flying from Lisbon to Madeira, or Funchal as it's known. Those of you who know that airport that we're arriving to, we're going to have a nice, fun, mountainous and maybe windy arrival. We're doing a full flight, 737 today. Nothing is set up right now, so we're going to set everything up together here, starting with the EFB, and we're going to go into our flight planner here. And top page. You can do this before the flight. I just wanted to do it within the cockpit today. So we're going to be flying flight level 340 was what I had decided. So we're going to set departure airport as Lisbon. LPPT Lisbon, there it is. And we're going to go ahead and that is runway 2 that we wanted. I'm going to set an arrival airport of Funchal, I think it's called Las Palmas, something like that. Madeira, there it is. Alright, so we have the direct route. And now, using my SimBrief flight plan here, I'm going to go ahead and set our flight plan. So it's pretty simple. Let me see here if I can add a waypoint. And our first waypoint, we're going direct to Galpa, Galpa. Yep, Galpa, and we're gonna press add. Bear with me. Add that waypoint. Cool. So it makes sense. Always make sure that your waypoint is a good one. Sometimes the briefing websites can mess up. So it looks like we have a good waypoint there. And then our next waypoint is Raccoon with a K. I'm gonna go ahead and add that waypoint. RAKU. And N. Raccoon, go ahead and we're gonna add it. There we go. And we're gonna go ahead and set our arrival, which is the Raccoon 1 Papa arrival. There it is, Raccoon 1 Papa. Gonna press change procedure. And our approach, we were planned for runway 5. So we're going to take an RNAV. Ooh, I don't know which one to take. Why not Zulu? Ooh. Okay. That's a little... Oh, I see. Going that way. What about this one? I'll take Yankee. Yankee looks like makes the most sense to me here. That might just be like a type of go-around procedure. And there's a Monek transition. No, we don't need the Monek transition. We just go direct. It just makes it a little bit longer for us. So we're going to go ahead and press change procedure. And we also had the choice of putting in... Oh. Let me go ahead and try to go up here, if I can. Alright, and I'm going to see if I could add a departure here. I think there was one that was... this one, ESP 6 November, just a simple departure that brings us towards our waypoint. So we're going to press change procedure, and that's going to be pretty much our flight plan. We have a long direct route there. We're going to press send to ATC and avionics, and that is going to be sent to our airplane. And let's go ahead and look. Let's execute it. Go to my legs page here. So yeah, we have a nice little departure going. Let's pull it. There you go. So flight plan is set up now in the 737's system. But we do have to initiate the flight here. So we're going to go ahead and tell them that we are flying at flight level 340. And we're going to execute that. 0 fuel weight. Going to go ahead and set it. And reserve fuel, we have about 7,000 pounds. I think it's in pounds, right? Yeah, it's in pounds. I just do 0.7. There you go. Yeah, so 7 pounds of reserve fuel. Cost index, go ahead and set 85 on the cost index here. Alright, so that is initiated. And now we have our performance here to deal with. So I'm going to go ahead and use the SimBrief performance. I'll put it on the screen if I remember here. So they told us to make flaps 5, so our selected temperature, we're going to set 44. And we're going to derate takeoff. Thrust 2. Alright, there we go. So, derated, we're going to set flaps to 5. Center of gravity set. And here it says rotating at 136. On my performance page, it says 152 for V1. I'm going to see if this works or not. Yeah, it does. So you don't have to set the speeds given. I'm going to set the speeds that that sim brief gave me. 156. Oh, nope. That was supposed to be V1. 156 on VR. Sorry, VR, not V1. And then V2 is 163 here. 163 on V2. There we go. So that's my takeoff set. So everything is set except the trim here. Trim 5.5 on takeoff. So we're going to go ahead and set trim 5.5 here. 3, 4, 5. Oh, wait. Where the heck's my... Whoa! Where are you going? Okay. Why is that arrow so, like, gray? Alright. There we go. That's about 5.5 right there. Alright, so that is FMC Set-Up. We have 73 reduced takeoff, flaps 5, that's fine. And we have our V-speeds set. And now what we have to do is actually brief our departure. And we could brief our landing, but we'll start with our departure here. You can skip through this part, guys, if briefing isn't interesting to you, but we do have to look at it. So this is our departure. We're taking off runway 2. So we're going to be taking off this way, heading towards Rockhob. And then I think we're making that right turn to Iruku. We want to be at or above 4,000, at or above 2,000. And then we are heading down. Oh, that is so annoying, guys. I don't understand why it does that. I can't drag the chart properly. I'm dragging it down. And it's just popping back up. Alright, now I should be able to zoom in a little bit at least. There we go. So after Iruku, we're heading down on the ESP 6 November and at or above 4,000 feet at Espichel waypoint. So that should all be already really set up in the FMC here. Pretty simple. So yeah, at or above 2,000, at or above 4,000. And at the ESP, we have to be at or above 4,000, but we're planned to be at about flight level 206. So that is departure briefed. Let's go ahead and brief our arrival into Funchal, because that is an important arrival. So we're flying runway 5 arrival today. Let's go ahead and open it up like this. Runway 5 arrival. Alright. So, which one? We were on the Raccoon arrival. So we're going to be coming in from Raccoon here, going to MA534 at or above 4,000. Then we're going to go to Pilim. And then from Pilim is where we probably would get vectored by ATC, but then we'll probably vector ourselves around and flying to runway 5. Let's go look what the flight plan looks like actually, just so we can compare. I'm going to go to my legs page here. We're also going to go on plan mode right there. And we're going to step through all our waypoints until we get to Raccoon. So then after Raccoon, we're going to MA34, then Pilim, and then from Pilin, we're going to probably get vectored, but the game isn't going to vector us, so we're just going to fly Pilin, probably just, go direct to MA510 waypoint. I'll set it direct for now, just so we have a direct route from both of them. So there we go, and execute. So now we should have that direct line. There we go. So now we have the direct line going from Pilim to our waypoint. And then, do we have an arrival chart? I feel like we should have an arrival chart, or just a... Let's go and look at our charts here. Where do I go again? Over here. See if we can find an actual full RNAV arrival here. So we're going to click on this information page, go to the charts page, arrival or approach into runway 5. I think we took Yankee or Zulu, but yeah, so this is what we want to see here. Alright, so yeah, we didn't go to Monek, we're going to go direct to MA510, I think, so we have to be at or above 2,000 feet at this waypoint, and then we're at max 175 knots, and then at MA504 I'll probably turn autopilot off and fly in ourselves. 2,000 feet, MA504, we want to be at 890 feet. And then we'll set in our decision heights and everything as we're landing. So 590 feet, I want to make sure that is set up in the, because that's important, 2,000, yeah, there we go. So MA504, we have that 890. We might fly on VNAV if we can, but I don't always trust VNAV. I might just hand fly it myself. Alright guys, so that is, that's our flight plan set up and briefed. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that first part. Still an important part of the flight. And now let's actually get flying. Let's get our clearance here.
Lisbon clearance delivery.
Alright, climb and maintain 10,000. Climb via SID, maintain 5,000. Flight level 340, 10 minutes after departure. And squawk 6261. So we're going to go ahead and acknowledge that, and we're going to go through it after. Alright guys, so as I just mentioned, while we're getting the clearance, we got cleared to climb via the SID, maintain 10,000 feet, and expect 340, 10 minutes after departure. I'm going to go ahead and get autopilot set up, so I want my auto throttle arm, flight director on, get my takeoff speed. We don't have any speed restriction other than 250 under 10,000, so we'll put something like 235. I'm going to turn LNAV on, because I'm probably going to turn LNAV right after we get off the ground here. Going to turn LNAV, and then we're going to follow our flight plan. And I'm going to start with vertical speed on takeoff. We're going to set vertical speed to something like 2,500 feet per minute, and then we'll let VNAV take us up afterwards. Get our landing lights on, taxi lights, all these guys on here. And fasten seatbelts on, no smoking on, and yaw damper, I'll turn it on now just because I usually forget. Alright, so now we're going to get a taxi clearance, so we just have to make sure we know where we are situated at the airport. So I'm just going to zoom in on my airplane here. Alright, and we're parked right in the middle, right in the heart of the airport. And we are going to get a taxi down to runway 2 right over here. So we're going to expect a taxi somewhere around these taxiways. And let's open the ground chart. So as we just saw, we are parked somewhere right about here. So we're probably going to get told to taxi by a Tango or something. Anyway, let's figure it out. Lisbon ground. And request taxi IFR. Alpha 4, Whiskey 2, Whiskey 3, Quebec 3, Golf 2, oh no, Quebec 3, Golf 2. Alright guys, so taxi clearance is quite, I don't know, I hate when they make, it's a little complicated. Anyway, so they told us Alpha 4 to Whiskey 2, to Whiskey 3, to Quebec 3, there, Golf 2, there, Uniform 2, which is here, and then uniform 1, which is there, and then Mike 5, which is there. Alright. So it makes sense. At least it makes sense. Unfortunately, I don't see taxiways well on this, but, you know, hey, it's a simulator, so as long as we get to the right runway, we're going to be happy. So let's go ahead and get pushback clearance here. Well, actually, we didn't even get clearance. We're just gonna request pushback. So as we are pushing back, we're gonna go ahead and set takeoff flaps 1, 2, and 5 there, and we're gonna set auto brakes to rejected takeoff. And there we go. And cool, they're pushing us back the right way, so that's always fun. Sometimes they push us back the wrong way. Got a nice 7.5 next to us here. So it's Alpha 4, Whiskey 2, Whiskey 3, this way, that way, and all the way down. Alright. We're going to do our best. I don't have my glasses on right now, so sometimes I have a hard time seeing the taxiways, so bear with me if ever I go on the wrong taxiway. But I promise we're going to get to runway 2. Alright. And I'll be making a right turn here. So right now we are on Whiskey 1, it looks like. So we wanted to get to Whiskey 2 and Whiskey 3, if I'm not mistaken. Sometimes it's good to write down your taxiways, guys. I didn't write it down here, but I'm gonna pretty much follow what I remember from clearance here. Got a lot of airports here, we got a lot of airplanes here. Alright. So this way. This was, I think, Whiskey 3 now. And then we had to make a hard right turn on this taxiway. Yeah, so we had to go to Whiskey 3, then Quebec 3, up to uniform. So now we're going to be heading away from the runway. Pretty much just try to remember. After you do a lot of taxi, guys, you start knowing how to see those taxiway charts and knowing where you have to go. So now we're going to be turning on that uniform taxiway, uniform 3 here. Have to make a sharp left turn, so I'm going to open up a little bit here and make this hard left here. Is this the hold short line? No, that's the hold short line right there. At runway 2 here. Alright, hold short. And we're gonna get our takeoff clearance.
Lisbon Tower, Swag Foxtrot Charlie Whiskey 5, 9er14 ready for IFR departure, runway 02.
Swag Foxtrot Charlie Whiskey 5, 9er14, QNH 1018, cleared for takeoff runway 02.
And we're going to acknowledge that. He said QNH 1018. So I'm going to set that because we hadn't set it already. And we are cleared for takeoff. Alright. So again, climbing at 10,000 vertical speed. We're going to be climbing out, turning LNAV on very shortly after takeoff. Making that right turn, another right turn towards our flight plan. Let's go ahead and make sure we have our speed. So V rotate is at 156 knots. Alright. Rotating at 156. LNAV is going to come on. Trim is set. Alright guys, so we are pretty ready for this takeoff. We briefed everything. Flaps are set. We have our rejected takeoff set if ever we have to reject takeoff for some reason. Alright, here we go, guys. Out of Lisbon, heading to Madeira. And takeoff thrust is set here. And looking to rotate at 156 here. 90 knots, that's 100. Alright, trying to keep it on the center line. A little bit of wind here. 120. Ooh, there's bumps on the runway. Alright, and we're gonna go ahead and rotate now. And we've got positive rate gears coming up. Alright. Play with my trim here. And climbing nice and fast here. Pretty windy. We got some wind gusts here. It's giving me trouble on takeoff. Alright. Alright, Lisbon Center on 11955. Gonna acknowledge that.
Swag Foxtrot, Charlie Whiskey 5, 914.
Alright, and autopilot's on, LNAV vertical speed, and climbing at 2,500 feet per minute here. Perfect, and let's contact that departure Lisbon Center.
Lisbon Center, Swag Foxtrot, Charlie Whiskey 5, 914. Is it 2,400 climbing, 10,000.
Swag Foxtrot, Charlie Whiskey 5, 914. Lisbon Center, QNH 1018. Radar contact. Continue to ROCOB.
Alright, cool. So he said continue to ROCOB here. Making that right turn. And VNAV is now on. So we're on VNAV speed, LNAV, and N1. Gonna go ahead and set flaps back to retracted position, up position. And VNAV should be making us climb here because we have to be at or above 4,000. And VNAV is holding us below 250 knots here, so that first right turn is done. And we could take a look at the airport we just took off from, and the city of Lisbon. There's our runway. Just took off from there, made our first right turn. And we got a nice little bridge here from in Lisbon. Not sure what bridge that is, but it's nice and big. Those of you who know, leave a comment if you're from Lisbon. I know I can just look on Google Maps, but we got a plane to fly right now. Alright, so plane is flying nicely, making our next right turn at Aruku and heading towards our ESP waypoint. And flying VNAV, LNAV, N1. Everything is good. Let's go ahead and look outside as that 737 is flying. There we go. Nice Sun Express 37. And heading to ESP waypoint now. Alright, so we are on a reduced climb, but we're still climbing nice and fast. There we go. So heading to ESP, then we got 360 nautical miles to Galpa, and then we're going to be 72 miles away from Raccoon. And then on approach into Madeira. So pretty smooth takeoff there, guys. Alright, cleared up to 340, so we're going to go ahead and set that and acknowledge that.
Climb and maintain flight level tree 40.
So, cleared to 340 now.
Whiskey 5, 914.
There we go, 340 set on the altitude, and we're about to cross through 10,000 feet. I'm expecting to see VNAV speed jump up as we come through 10,000 here, and boom, 10,000. There goes VNAV speed up to 297. Come on up. Come on up, little dog. So as that VNAV speed just shot up to 297, as you can see, vertical speed came down. So that's VNAV right here doing its job. So keeping us on our altitude and speed, so that we don't have to worry about it too much. And now we are just flying off the coast of Portugal. So we're going to be heading right there and then making a right turn towards Galpa. I can bring my range out here. Ooh, we can't even see Galpa yet. Yeah, there it is. Alright. Yeah, there we go. So we have our top of climb right there. And Galpa, and top of descent looks like it's right at Raccoon there, that top of descent. So hopefully the ATC will give us a clean descent down for the approach into Madeira, and hopefully make a good landing. Stick around for that landing, guys. Those of you who know that airport, it's a special airport to land at. You got a nice tight turn next to a mountain, and runway isn't short, but it's not the longest either. So welcome to the approach now into Madeira. We've been flying for about an hour. I'd say a little bit under an hour. Isn't there a timer somewhere? Time elapsed. There we go. 1 hour. Alright. So we are at that Raccoon waypoint. I already pressed my altitude intervention button, so we are already descending. As you can see, we're a little bit below our VNAV path. That might VNAV might slow our descent down just so we could join on to it. And we did get our approach clearance a while ago, so the ATC worked out for us. So they told us, so sorry, I can't hold it down for some reason, but they told us to descend to 3,000 and expect RNAV runway 23 via the Pilim transition. So I actually need to set this to 3,000. and went down to 200 by accident. So there we go, 3,000 is set. And there you go. As we can see, we are descending now on our VNAV path, nice and fast. Yeah, we could have started descending maybe a little bit earlier, but they told us via the Pilim transition, so that's where we're going. And descending, so yeah, I guess top of descent started a little bit late here, because it just makes us descend very quickly here. And let's go ahead and see our progress. So how far are we out? So yeah, we're about 70 miles out of Madeira. So I always find that it makes you descend a little bit too fast on VNAV. I should have maybe started descending a little bit earlier, but anyway, VNAV is gonna get us there in time, and if we have to, we'll kind of slow the plane down a bit so we can descend a bit faster. So let's go ahead and look at our arrival again. We briefed it earlier on, but we'll go ahead and look again. So we were coming in from Rakup. Up here, we're coming down towards the Pilim waypoint, and then at Pilim we're going to be going and heading somewhere around here and coming in for our approach. And I'll go ahead and open up the approach chart. Where is it? There it is. Charts, and we're taking the RNAV Zulu, I think it was, for us. No, we took the RNAV Yankee, I think. RNAV Yankee. Yeah, so that's the one. That's the one we took, but we're going to be heading to this waypoint first. Technically, we're going to be flying that other one, but whatever. We're going to keep this up. Alright, so 2,000 feet, and then right here we want to be at about 800 feet. Go around procedure, max 210 knots on the go around, and we fly the go around as planned. We do know that go arounds are quite frequent at this airport in case there's a lot of wind. And minimums here, so minimums, we'll take this number here, 520 on the minimums. And I like to look at my airport elevation, so 520 plus about 160. So we'll set minimums to around 680, 650, just to keep it on a normal number here. Alright, there we go. So minimums are set. And yeah, gosh, descending at 4,000 feet per minute. It's ridiculous. And of course we're overspeeding. We're descending at fastest. Alright. Oh, we're going to go ahead and descend by our own speed here, because it's sending us way too fast here. We'll take a little detour if we have to. So, we'll do that, and we're going to slow the plane down here. Get to about 280 knots on our descent speed so that our plane can slow down and give us time to descend. Just descending at an unrealistic speed here, so you know, if we have to, we're gonna go from Pilum, we're gonna go on heading mode and kind of make our way out here and then make our way back in. I'm gonna go ahead and set heading mode to the heading I want once I get to Pilum, so we're gonna go to heading something like that after we get to Pilum. So we are through 18,000 feet, so we're gonna go ahead and set our altimeter to 1022. Let's refresh it just to be sure that we are on the right. Yeah, perfect. So 1022 on the altimeter. Gonna take standard off and 1022 set. Let's plan our landing out of here. Airport ground chart. So we're landing runway 5, and we're gonna try to exit the runway at this waypoint if we make a good landing. Not waypoint, but I should say this taxiway. It looks like taxiway Bravo. And if not, then we'll just make our turn out here. So we're gonna set braking to about auto brake 2. Actually, I'll set 3 just so we have a hard braking in case sometimes you float a lot on this runway and then you end up landing somewhere here, so we'll have hard braking in case that happens. And the plane is slowing down nicely. There we go. So at MA 510, now that we're off of VNAV, we have to fly it our own. So MA 510, we want to be at 2,000 feet or above. They cleared us down to 3,000. So really at Pilum we want to be at 3,000 or above, and then we'll probably get clear that approach afterwards. That's why VNAV was making us go down so quick. We didn't have to be at 4,000 feet here. So yeah, we're doing fine, guys. Alright, so made it to this waypoint. We'll be turning towards Pilum now. I think I'll just leave VNAV on. If I see I need a little bit more space to descend, I'll just fly out a little bit more. I'll fly this way, and then I'll turn back in. Alright. 2,000 feet per minute is a pretty good speed for, you know, rate of descent speed, because we're descending at like 4,000 feet per minute. That's a little bit fast in my opinion. Alright, landing lights coming on, runway turn off, taxi lights just so that we get there, and we'll turn fasten seatbelts on here as we're coming in. I think I can see the island right there. Island of Madeira coming in. We flew from mainland Portugal and now we are coming towards this island, Madeira Funchal Airport. If I turn terrain on, it's a little bit too far. Alright, so we're out at 12,000 feet now, so I'm going to go ahead and get our speed down at 240 here. You should see my engines start to slow down. And if we're having trouble, I'm going to go ahead and set auto brakes here, or speed brakes, sorry, to baro minimums, not Alright, so they told us to contact Madeira approach here, so sorry, I'm just playing around with my minimums again. Alright, so I'm gonna go ahead and contact Madeira approach.
Decimal 605. Swag Foxtrot, Charlie Whiskey 5, 9
contact and continue. As you can see, I switched to heading mode here, give us a little bit more time, and we're gonna go ahead and probably fly towards that waypoint and then towards Mike Alpha 510, and then from there we should be okay. They told us to continue, so we were descending down to 3,000 still, and we're gonna wait for that clearance down to 2,000 here. Alright, speed brakes back to the armed position, and gonna set flaps 5 here. And keep kind of slowing down. Let's go ahead and set our landing in the init ref page. So we'll choose flaps 40 and 136. You want to be quite slow for landing here. Alright, engines are pushing back up. Got 9,000 feet of runway, LPMA 05, so we got the flaps and landing speeds set, and our minimums are also set here. I have terrain on here so that we just have a view of the mountains once we get a little bit closer. Alright, so coming through this waypoint now. And we did have a speed restriction of 175 at one of the waypoints. I forgot which one it was. Approach, RNAV, Yankee. So, yeah, right at that waypoint here. Mike Alpha 508, 504, we have a speed restriction of 175, so we'll keep that in mind. Alright, gonna zoom a little bit more here, and we're gonna start turning towards our other waypoint there. Should be right at 3,000 feet shortly here. And continuing to slow down.
Contact Madeira Tower on 124.66 when inbound.
Alright.
Tower on 124.66. Swag Foxtrot Charlie Whiskey 5, 914.
Alright, so contacting Madeira Tower, and let's see if they give us any new information.
Inbound RNAV runway, 2 tree approach.
Swag Foxtrot Charlie Whiskey 5, 914, Madeira Tower. QNH 1022, cleared RNAV runway, 2 tree approach.
Alright, so we are clear of the RNAV approach now, so that means we can descend to 2,000 here.
Charlie Whiskey 5, 914.
So we're going to go ahead and set that 2,000, going to put our vertical speed up a little bit, and we're going to turn LNAV back on, and we're going to go direct to that waypoint, execute it, and LNAV on here. There we go. Alright, and we're going to set flaps 10 and 15. I gotta slow down at 200 knots here. You guys can see that mountain in the way there. We got that 2500 call. We're gonna go ahead and set gear down. Gear down and descending to 2,000 feet here. Alright, and I have the island in sight. Luckily I've flown this approach a couple of times before, playing... Oh, that's not what I wanted to do. Just want speed. Alright, so we're going to hold about 185 here for now. And flaps 15, 25 at 190, so I'm going to go ahead and set flaps 20 now. Alright, so barrel minimums are set, speed brakes are armed for landing, auto brakes are set. So MA 508, we want to be at 2,000 feet, and then after that we want to be descending Want to be descending to 890 feet, 3-degree glide path on that RNAV approach. Alright. Ooh. Looks like we're just getting some dark clouds here. So once I reach that waypoint, I'm going to slow down to about 170 here. And we're looking for 136 landing speed with flaps 40. Here is the moment we've been waiting for, guys. The landing in Madeira. Let's see if I can do it without a go-around. And keep that terrain on here. Terrain, terrain. There's the mountain. Alright, slowing to 175. That is the maximum speed we want it to be at that waypoint. Alright, and we're going to get descending now. I'm afraid VNAV is going to get us way too low here, so I'm gonna see what VNAV. Yeah, VNAV is making us dive, so we're gonna avoid VNAV, and we're just gonna fly ourselves in there. Alright, so we want to be at about 800 feet here. Alright, gonna set flaps 30 and flaps 40 now. We're at 1,000 feet. Yeah, we are below the glide slope here, so we're gonna go ahead and descend slower. I don't know why VNAV just made us dive. Alright, letting the plane bring us in now. Gosh, that's annoying. I don't even know why I put VNAV on. Alright, speed is mine. And autopilot's off here. I've got control. I've got airport and runway in sight here. VNAV kind of messed our landing up. But we are gonna fly it in here. Alright, there we go. So we're back on our VNAV path. And we're gonna get descending. Looking for 136 on the landing speed. I can feel the wind kind of dragging us, so we're approaching minimums. Runway's in sight there. Minimums, and we're continuing. We have runway in sight. Have a little bit of a left to right crosswind here. 500 feet. Wind is hitting us. Alright, and we are lined up here a little bit high. No worries, there we go. Coming back. Lining up. 300 feet. Trying to stay steady with the wind here. Oh man, alright, we got that little downdraft there. Alright. A little bit of lag on landing, but we are down. And reverse thrusting. Alright. Welcome to Madeira. And looks like we are going to make taxiway Bravo, so we won't have to worry about turning around. Alright, reverser's off. And turning off the runway here, guys. There you had it. Nice little landing in Madeira. Unfortunately, we had some lag there on our landing, but yeah, that downdraft pushed us around as expected there on the landing. But we managed to make a decent little landing. Wasn't too bad. I hope you guys enjoyed that flight. Leave a like and subscribe. I'll see you guys on the next video. See ya.